Howdy, howdy. How's everybody doing tonight? This is another rough one for me. I didn't think I was gonna get to go live. The wife and the kid are both not having a good evening. And looks like it's a busy night for everyone. I'm going to probably have a short one here and then publish it afterwards, because I've got a couple other things I need to do before I head to bed tonight. Wanted to talk a little bit about just doing a plain tobacco flavor, not a dessert tobacco. And hey, Shindo, how you doing, man? Hey, Jeffrey. Just doing a plain tobacco, not necessarily a dessert tobacco. Something that, you know, the majority of people probably aren't going to like, because, you know, those of us that enjoy the straight tobaccos are fewer and far between these days. And I'm vaping the Mix It or Fix It for this evening, which ties into next week's Mix It, Fix It, or Nix It, interestingly enough. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. Hey, Mr. Burgundy, how you doing, man? And let me get this up here. Get all the flavors up. One of these days, I'm going to figure out the screen share. I'm going to take some time out and figure that out. I don't know when exactly that's going to be, because, yeah, I can't, I don't have much time right now these days, unfortunately. Anyway, before we get started, man, there's some pretty cool information. I guess I've heard that Vape Train Australia is working on getting their concentrates stocked over here in the US, and they've got some interesting stuff. They've got some tobacco concentrates, and we'll be getting to demo some of them, and they have a handful, at least, I think, new tobaccos coming, and I've been told I'm going to get those to try out. And oh, awesome, Kitus. Anyway, the so we'll be getting those to try out, maybe some new good ones to add to the arsenal. I'm kind of interested to play with different flavorings. And all right, so let's get on track and stay focused this evening, since it's going to be a short one anyway. Let's do. I've been playing around with FLV Arabic, maybe. And of course, I dropped it back in the dang box. One of these days, I might actually organize my concentrates better again. I just had that damn thing. Boy. Alright, this is ridiculous. This is going to be an all FLV, because, well, they're pretty good and they're easy. They're like a cheat code. And I'm gonna flip if I lost my Arabic. I'm sure I didn't. It's just somewhere here in this dang mess. This is silly. There it is. Of course, it's the one I set right there, so I'd have it by my hand. Man, you see how my night's going. Need to have some root beer. I do remember those. I do remember those, Kit. Oh, man. You know, that's weird. I've been wanting to do, I've been working on a couple of different custard tobaccos here recently. And I'm just like, man, I really want to do a pudding tobacco. Not that that initially sounds good by any means, but it ought to be interesting. Ah, awesome. All right, so I have, now all I need is, of course, the one I can't find. I keep telling myself I'm going to reorganize this stuff, and then I just take on more damn projects. And somewhere is my box of additives, because I need the lovage. And of course it's not in there. All right, lovage. Lovage. There it goes. All right, so I don't know how many of you guys have played around with FLV Arabian tobacco, but let's see. FLV Turkish Extra. All right, so let's go FLV Arabian. And I don't know how many of you guys have messed with it. It's one of their more expensive ones. And it is pretty strong, in my opinion. It gets really weird when used really high. So we're going to use it low. We're going to use Oriental tobacco, which I find to be interesting. I don't know if I find it to be Oriental, but I find it to be interesting and leaning Eastern. So let's go Oriental. And let's go Connecticut shade, because this one's really good. It's very nuanced. And yeah, I'm sorry if I can't if I can't describe things as well as other people. The lovage to me is not a pleasant. I don't know that I enjoyed single flavor testing it, and the only thing I kept trying it lower and lower and lower, and just, I mean, it's just something that I would add to tobaccos or maybe even to herbals. Or teas. I don't know that I would add it to much of anything else. This mix it or fix it, mix it, fix it, or nix it is pretty good. So, let's do. I heard Chemical Burn Victim talking about Arabian, where he thought he was struggling with it, and he made dilutions of it, and I can see where that would be very helpful because it is very strong. The lower you go with it, I guess less sharp it gets, and it does work in dilutions. We're going to use it at 0.2, and we're going to use Oriental Tobacco at 1.5. We're going to use Connecticut Shade at point. I want to use it at 1, but I don't want it to get too coffee-ish. Let's go 0.8. And then Lovage Root, we're going to go up a little bit more. Let's keep it down low to 0.25. And we're going to be original with this and call it Arabian Nights. I've realized doing these shows that, like, after vaping these concentrates and mixing them and playing around with them, I know in my head exactly how I think they work together and how I would want to make certain notes play well with others or accentuate certain notes more, but I don't know how to, like, convey that, like, clearly, which is probably a disservice to you guys. That's why I keep telling everybody, I mean, you don't have to be wordy and eloquent and everything to make good recipes. Just know your concentrates, and it just works out. And actually looking at this, I'm going to bump Oriental up to 1.7. And now I'm hearing the Aladdin thing. And let's go to, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do a note to make it shake and vape. So if you click shake and vape, why do you have to add a steep day? That's what I want to know. Scott, that's a question for you. If you ever watch this. And let's see, did it save this time? It saved this time. Let's see if I can copy. All right. That's kind of why we're using all FLV, because I know, I mean, it's going to be hard for it to be bad. I mean, that's the secret too. Use really good concentrates and everybody will think you know what you're doing. bought a new scale and I haven't wore out the catch on it enough to get the lid off easily every time. All right, let's see if this works. I'm gonna mix this. So the Mix It, Fix It, or Nix It tonight is gonna be YakGak by Kindground. And I kind of wanted to do it because there are people that have vaped it and said it's a tobacco. And I know from vaping the thing it's based off of that while really good, it's not a tobacco either. But people say it is. So it's based off of Obsidian. And next week's Mix It, Fix It, or Nix It is going to be Wayne's Obsidian. And I mean, it's not going to be a Nix It, but for me, it's going to be a Fix It. We'll get to that for the same reasons as tonight, but we'll do two different versions of playing around with it. I told Wayne a couple of months ago that I wanted to do that, and he was kind of excited to see what I came up with on it. How to get one drop to register, please tell me. Looks like it's 2 drops. Wow, that is strong, man. Oriental doing the 1.7. Connecticut shade, and I gotta find my FLV caps because I think I have a broken cap here. I do have a broken cap. This is gonna be fun. Spoilers, put your cap on the scale. So Connecticut shade 0.16. And lovage. Lovage tends to moisten up and give the fermented kind of edge to tobaccos. I mean, it doesn't necessarily make them pipey, but it makes them feel pipey, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? That might not make sense. It might make sense to me, but maybe not to y'all. And I kind of want to put, well, let's see how this tastes first. I kind of want to put butter in it. Just 'cause. All right. Oh, don't tell me I have misplaced. Nope. My bottle caps. Butter that backhoe. Man, I like it. I don't have it released any like that yet. I mean, I have, just not where you guys can see them. Butter. All right. This break to shaking is brought to you by A&W Root Beer. Not really. But I kind of want to see what it does to YakGak. I gotta vape it down a bit though. I don't want to have to vape 4 or 5 drips. All right. Oh, I dropped my vapor towel. There it is. Oh man, I like that. It's going to calm down some on the steep. But I like that. Very much Eastern. I don't know about Arabic, but very much in the Eastern style. Kind of almost how to turn Oriental into Turkish. Right? My wife's always like, Mr. Burgundy, my wife is always saying, why do you have a roll of paper towels in your office in there? It's like, honey, it's not for the reason you think. Man, I kind of wanted to see how YakGak did with a tobacco node in it, but this just pretty much killed all YakGak in the atomizer. All right, so there you have it. A very simple way to create a tobacco-only profile. I mean, it doesn't take a wizard to do these things. Like All you have to do is know your concentrates. I mean, you can't go. I mean, so I guess sometimes you can. You can't just go throwing shit in a bottle and expecting it to work out, because I mean, sometimes it might. What's the story? 50,000 monkeys might write Shakespeare eventually if they all had typewriters. I think it might take a primate or two more than that, but man, that Arabian does good things. The thing that is weird with Arabian is that unlike all of the rest of the FLV tobaccos, and it might be because it's such a super concentrated flavor that it doesn't do the boomerang thing. Matter of fact, it kind of builds a little bit. Might want to drop this down to 0.15. Or even 0.1. But we'll see on the steep. And I'll update that recipe if need be. Man, I hope I'm not coming down with another cold. I can't afford it. All right, so let's move on. Right, the level of reality TV. They could, yeah, probably. Well, I don't know, man. They say Shakespeare invented 25% of the words that he used, or 20% or something like that. I don't know how true that is. I'm not a Shakespearean by any means, but the rumor was that, and I don't know if it's rumor or not, anyway, that he invented a bunch of the words that he used. So, I don't know. They could very well invent Shakespeare. Maybe they did. And this has been a hoax. So, YakGak. It is based off of Wayne Walker's Obsidian, which if you guys haven't tried, you really should. I think both, he did a version that was fixed, I think, because some people didn't like pie crust or Flavor West pie crust or something. Anyway, I think both versions are really good. It, right, so did Dr. Seuss. Both versions of Obsidian are really good. We'll cover those next week, or maybe since I'm spoiling it, next week will just be about how to fix something. This one is really good too. I wouldn't call it a tobacco. I think people that try it are calling it a tobacco because of TPA RY4 double, but you guys probably know by now how I feel about TFA RY4 double. It's just a dirty caramel with vanilla. It's not really, and it's good. It's not really a tobacco, man. I mean, I don't get any tobacco from it. I just get dirty, weird, sometimes smoky, sometimes ashy, but never tobacco. Anyway, so this has TFA RY4 double in it at 3%. It's got Flavor West pie crust in it at 1%, which I happen to like Flavor West pie crust. He did a thing where he didn't put his notes on the recipe. He wanted you to go to Reddit to read them, which Kindground, shame on you. You should just put them in the recipe as well. They're already there. Copy and paste, man. It's a technology. Look it up. Anyway, he wanted it to be a little bit richer and more decadent than Obsidian is, and he achieved that. I really enjoyed this, and mixing it as more of a dessert profile. I like it. One thing in Kindground's defense, he never once mentioned that this is a tobacco. He never claimed this is a tobacco. So, I mean, he's off the hook. He made a very good recipe. A couple of people have told me to try it because it's a good tobacco and it's a good recipe. It's not a good tobacco. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know that as a recipe for a dessert, a rich, decadent recipe it needs to be fixed or nixed, it's very much a mix it. Y'all should try YakGak as well as both of the obsidians. And I don't know, it's very busy and complex, and it does it very well. I don't know that adding tobacco to that would be a solution. For Wayne's it is, because Wayne's is not, I mean, it's rich and deep, and it's got some interesting complexity to it, but it's not so much so that you're going to run it by adding another separate complex flavor profile to it. So this is a mix it, very much so. It is not a tobacco. I won't mention you people who recommended me that this is a tobacco, but shame on you. This is a very good recipe. So I'm going to leave a review, and y'all read it. And Jennifer Jarvis says, hey, it's the Coke can. What's up, buddy? Jennifer Jarvis says, I can't stand TFA RY4, either of them. RY4 is appalling, about like Flavor Art RY4 to me. I don't like it. It's even worse than their RY4 double. Soho's not bad for like an RY4 base, but it doesn't have any tobacco to it. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Coke Can. And next week we're kind of going to go over, and Wayne did mention using his obsidian as a base for things. So we're going to do maybe a little bit darker tobacco profile with his cookie dough RY4 there. Although we might change it up and use a different RY4. And hey, Sin, how goes, man? Let's see, we talked about Vape Train Australia, which I'm excited about. The yeah. We talked about Vape Train Australia, which I'm excited about. We talked about a simple tobacco profile. I think one of the coming weeks, I have some plans to do another one, but do a more American one. And you know what, Coke Can? Jungle Flavors RY4 Double is really good. Oh man, I can't stand FA Desert Ship, Jen. That's yeah. Do Soho half lemon? I don't know. It's Flavor Art. It should. Speaking of lemon, y'all should catch Noted next week. I won't be on it. Thank goodness. It's about lemon. I'm going to vape some more of this. How about we do YakGak? This is not very scientific. Let's do 4 drops of this Arabian Nights. Or maybe 5. Okay, 5. And let's do 5 drops of YakGak. And that should tell me. You know what? It's actually not bad. Maybe you can add tobacco to it. Oh, nice. Coke Can. I like Tuscan Reserve Gin. You know what? There are people out there that actually like FA Desert Ship. And I can see where they would. I'm not one of them. I mean, I can see that there are people out there that appreciate black licorice. I'm not one of them. It's just a personal thing. Berries and tobacco are harder than you would think they are. for a juice. I have one that I've been working on forever, and I thought I had it nailed. It was great on the shake. It was great a week later, and then 2 weeks later, it was a mouthful of jam with tobacco, which is unpleasant, to say the least. I need a really tart, realistic blackberry that is not syrupy, not floral, is what I need. See, I could see that, using it very low as an additive. I think I got away from FA so much more because the off notes that I get with them, man, it's like almost all of them lend to this weird burning paper thing that's just too much for me. Or maybe I vaped so much of them that I'm magnified the off notes for myself. All right. Well, I think we talked about everything, and we've only been going about 30 minutes. Unless y'all have questions, we can make the show about little remote control toys. I would get that thing up, but it's actually huge. It's a 1/6 scale. I think they claim it's 1/5, but not really. And guys, don't let your wife drive your X-Max. You'll have to go buy her one. She almost murdered me and our boy with it, just because it's very fast and gets out of control very quick. Hey Russ, yeah man, the boy was sick and I couldn't break free. I thought tonight was going to be another one. The boy is he's not sick. He didn't nap at daycare today, and you know how they get when they get overtired, they just won't go down. And she's sick, so wasn't able to get this started. I wanted to really start this at 9, so I had some time to do some other stuff, but I'm just going to stay up late and do it. They are. I'm not a huge Traxxas fan for a lot of their vehicles. I mean, I have 3. I have the Latrax Teton. I have a 4-wheel drive Slash. And I have the X-Max. But I've got some Arma stuff and some Red Cat stuff and some Axial stuff and some other stuff. Anyway, it's an addiction. I just like putting them in the air, doing big flips with them and landing them and breaking them and fixing them. Actually, I'm glad he's better too, but the old man in me wishes he would stay right at almost sick. When he's in that really quiet, I just want to be held mood, because that's when he's the best. No, the Slash is their short course truck. Looks like a trophy truck or a desert truck-ish kind of thing. It doesn't go up to 100 miles an hour. I think they claim it goes 50 or 60. They claim that one does 50 plus, and it does if you put 4S in it, 8S, which I usually run 8S. and the stock gearing, the taller stock gearing kit I put in it, and I think I did like 58 miles an hour. And all right, see you, Corey. And you can get them faster, but it's not meant to be a speed truck. They do have the XO1, which is just like a speed street vehicle, not off-road, which I kind of don't get the point in just going fast in a straight line with remote control cars. Also kind of don't get the point of doing like little circle races with remote control cars, but hey. I think they have a new version of something out. Not the XO1, the Fortec, maybe the Fortec. It's like $400 and something, and it doesn't come with a controller or a receiver or a body or wheels or tires. And this show is now about remote control vehicles. I did take my wife out, and we went out and on our property, and we were running. I bought her one just like one of mine, and we were out running them. And I thought she was stuck, and I asked her, I was like, "You okay? What are you doing?" And she just turned around. She had the biggest smile on her face. "I'm mudding, honey." And she had it in a mud puddle, just throwing mud and water up in the air. Anyway, it was hilarious to see a 53-year-old woman acting like a 12-year-old. It was good. It was a good day. The boy loved it too, man. We would crash and roll over, and he was on the rescue, man. He had his little mater out there with him, and he would run out there, and him and mater would roll the trucks over. It was a blast. Yeah, they have the old rally car by Traxxas was just a slash four-wheel drive with rally body on it. They actually did a worse version of it. And it was brushless. They did a brushed version, and they did shorter control arms and a narrower rally body on it. Anyway, all of the rally fanatics say the old one is the better one if you can find one in stock somewhere. It can. Like I ran at lunch yesterday, and I broke a control arm, a steering knuckle, and an axle shaft. I mean, it was like $16 to repair, and so I fixed it before lunch today and went out, and I was trying to pull a triple backflip off of this one berm behind the site at work, and I landed it wrong and broke the axle shaft again, so there goes another $4.50. Anyway, it's fun. It's fun, something to tinker with. You can't throw your real vehicle in the air like that. That big one there is a ton of fun, just because it flies real well and takes crashes and landings better, but it gets more expensive. The bigger they get, the more the parts for them cost. So I try not to be really stupid with it, but it's hard. Anyway, I think that's where I'm going to end it today. I hope y'all like the recipe. Next week we're going to do 2 different recipes, and I don't know if we're going to use both of his versions of Obsidian. I think we're just going to base it off of the one that's fixed, and cut a few give TFA Cubano type a try. You know what? I think I did in the past, and I'm trying to stay away from long, steep. There's another one that's a Cuban type that's really good, but requires... Man, I'm trying to stay away from stuff that needs like 3 and 4 weeks, because people, I mean, kind of the fun thing for me now is to get people involved and to get them mixing and to get them to try tobaccos, man. I think the more people that are vaping tobaccos around their still smoking relatives and still smoking friends, it's more likely that you can get somebody to swap over with a really good tobacco. In my mind, at least, that might not be the case. I might be all wet there, but man, I've gotten messages on all the flavors that make my days and private messages off Facebook that have made my day. You know, somebody had been trying to get their dad to, vape for 4 years, and it's always been too sweet or too this or too fruity or too that or doesn't really taste tobacco, and they got him to quit on one of my recipes. Man, that is a huge win for me. I mean, I tried everything in my life to quit smoking, and I kind of dual used for a long time and then was finally able to quit through vaping. And unfortunately, tobaccos really weren't good enough back then. I did do it on regular, on just fun flavors. But I think if there would have been really good tobaccos at the time, I would have quit sooner. Hardware wasn't really there either. But anyway, I think that's where I'm going to end tonight, guys. I mean, I could drone on about RC cars or stupid crap at work, and I don't want to do that. But thank you guys for tuning in. And, you know what, man? I actually working on one of those right now, Steve Maddox. But I don't know if it's going to be like Ripe Vapes. I didn't really care for theirs. I think I might actually even still have a bottle somewhere. But keep an eye on all the flavors. I'm going to release a couple of vanilla cream tobaccos in the future. And maybe even a one-shot somewhere. So keep an eye out for that. Anyway, I'm going to end it, guys. And peace. And y'all come back next week. I'll try to have a little bit more content lined up. And where's the end button? All right, see you guys.